Okay, I'm going to do my best to show you guys how you can still find dispersed camping on public land. In many places, they are closing down the developed recreation sites, developed campgrounds, and areas. In California, they've already done it. Many of the places where you used to go and camp in a dispersed manner have been designated as developed. But we still have millions of acres of BLM and Forest Service land where you can go camp. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you, first I have to make sure I'm still recording. I'm going to ViewRanger. This is the app that I use, but it's not the only one. All of these are topo maps. Most of them have USGS sources. OnX Hunt, the one at the top, that's the most detailed mapping app I've ever seen. They also have an OnX for camping specifically, an OnX for off-roading. That app will even tell you who owns private land. It's insanely detailed, but it's very expensive. Gaia GPS, I think, works for what we're doing. I've used Backcountry Navigator. I think almost any of these, this US Topo Map Free and Pro, that might be a good one. But today, we're going to use ViewRanger because that's the one that I've been using for years. Now, in ViewRanger, you've got these different mapping sources. I use the USA Topo Map. It's now a premium map, which means you might have to pay for it. It's worth it. I think it was free when I got it. I've had this for so long. If I did pay for it, I forgot I paid for it. But that's what we're going to use. We'll go ahead and click on this. And if you look, all that color, the brown and most of the light green, that's all BLM and U.S. Forest Service land that you can still camp on free and dispersed. Not only can you, but they are actually encouraging you to. If you go to the web page or the Facebook page for the Bureau of Land Management or the United States Forest Service, you will see that they are actually encouraging you to go out and enjoy your public lands in a safe and dispersed manner. So, as an example, let's just zoom in here. This is the Salton Sea. Many of you guys might know the area fairly well. Slab City is nearby. If you look, there's all these little patchwork areas of brown. If we zoom in more, it tells us El Centro or Palm Springs Coastal Management BLM land. El Centro Management Area BLM land. Okay. So if you have this map and this application or any of these applications, you should be able to use your GPS to see exactly where you're at when you're on one of these places. So first, let me go back. I'm a little lost. Let's zoom in to this little area of BLM right here, El Centro Management BLM area. This is the road that you turn off to go to the hot springs just north of Slab City. Now it says BLM, so if you're on that, you can camp free, dispersed. There are also certain rules to dispersed camping, which most of you should already know, and if you don't, a quick Google search will tell you. You can't camp right next to a developed campground. Certain areas are set aside for ecological reasons, or high use impact reasons, but most of these BLM and Forest Service areas are open to free camping. Now the next thing I like to do is cross-reference this with Google Maps satellite view. To get to satellite view, you click those little layers and you go from default over to satellite. I've already zoomed into this area so I know what I'm looking at. But there's that Hot Springs Road. And there's that big BLM area. Now, is there a road leading into it? It looks like there is. If we zoom down right here, we can see there's this road that cuts right back across telephone lines, so it's probably a power line maintenance road. And there are little side roads, and you could basically pull off anywhere in that area and camp for free in a dispersed manner because it's BLM. Cross-referencing it with satellite maps helps a lot. If we look up here, El Centro Management BLM area. Here's the Lark Spa. Okay, let's go back to Google Maps and do this again. If we go up here, we'll see the Lark Spa right there. And there's a nice road just to the south of the Lark Spa, which leads down to Frink Road and this big clearing. Is that BLM? We'll find out. Well, I don't see Frink Road, but I think it just has a different name here. But you can see just south of the Lark Spa, there's a big section of BLM. And so as long as your GPS shows that you are on, if you're actually in this location, you won't have any confusion. You can hit the locate GPS button down here at the bottom in the center, and it'll show exactly where you're at. And then you can go back over to Google Maps and do the same thing. Hit this little GPS button down near the bottom right, and it'll show you exactly where you're at. So it's a great way to tell where you're at and let you know if you're on a place where you can camp on public land, Forest Service, or BLM free. I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I am, because it's kind of important. Let me show you one other little trick to this. On this mapping application, if you're going to a place where you're not going to have cell signal, you'll still have GPS, and you can still find out exactly where you're at on the map by going into this layer section, and up at the top, save for offline use. You click that, and then you zoom to the level that you would like to save. It'll tell you at the bottom how much memory it's going to take to save that much of an area. I could save, well, not all of California, but I could save everything around the Salton Sea for about 411 megabytes. I don't need to do that, but I could. That way, if you're going to an area where you think you're not going to have cell signal, downloading that map ahead of time will still give you detailed zoom levels, so you can get in there and read the names of these little roads, and you'll still be able to use your GPS and figure out exactly where you're at. Everything could change at any time now. I still say that most of these stay-at-home orders are nothing more than stay-at-home requests. It would take martial law in order to actually order us to do anything. But unless you want to go challenge them and try to camp in an area that they say has been closed, your only other option is to follow the rules. And if you really want to follow the rules, you're going to need some sort of a topo map. You can also get a paper USGS topo map. The Forest Service offices have great topo maps that you can use. But for me, this kind of an app has been a lifesaver for years. And right now, I want to show everybody how to use it, because once again, when we zoom out, there's a lot of public land out there. All that brown and green, at least the light green, you can dispersed camp on any of that. Okay, you guys be careful, stay safe, do whatever you want. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. Or maybe you should, I don't know. It's up to you if you're willing to fight them or not.